Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled, Do I Believe in Gilgulim, Transmigration of the Human Soul, Part 2. In the first year we mentioned that the Ramami Pano learns Parshat Bamidbar that Moshe counted everyone Ligul Gilotam. It's referring to Gilgul, transmigration of souls. And Moshe already saw how many Gilgulim each person is going to go through. People talked about, which talk about the Kabbalists especially. How many times will a person go through? Is it boy? Is it men? Is it woman? Is it both? Who's going to go back in which form, which body? All these questions. So what do we do with this topic? Is this something that a frum Jew must believe in? So if you go to the Torah, no open reference in the 24 books of Tanakh. Go to the Gemara, no reference, certainly not open, in the Gemara, in Shas. There's a famous controversial Rashash who says, it seems from the Gemara, there is no concept of Gilgul, of a person going ahead, dying in this world, then coming back again and again and again. The Rishonim, moving down to the next part of our history, from the Torah, the written Torah, 24 books, to the Gemara, to the Rishonim era, and the Gaonim era. Gaonim is 6, 7, 8, 900s. And then you have the Rishonim, 11, 12, 13, 1400s. So the Gaonim, Sadi Gaon, he says in his chapter on the soul, I hear people, Jewish people, talk about transmigration of the soul, and they explain that's how a person can have a bad life here because he really just came back for this one tikkun, this one correction. He says, I'm very surprised. Jewish people are considered chachamim, wise people. They believe in such nonsense. And he takes this person to task. He's very critical of the concept of Gilgul, and that's Sadiq as an example in the Gaonim era. Move to the Rishonim. Most Rishonim just don't talk about it. The Ramban does mention it a couple of times. Rekanani mentioned a couple of times. Rabbeinu Bachaya, his student, mentions it a few times as well. So they hold by such a concept. Other Rishonim don't talk about it. One may say, well, they don't talk about it, but they held by it. You can argue that. My intuition is if they didn't hold by it, if they didn't mention it, they don't hold by it. Why? Because it is used as an explanation of why bad things happen to good people. That something goes wrong in a person's life. That was because he went through a Gilgul. Ramban talks about that. Others talk about it. And the Kabbalists and others in later centuries certainly talk about it. So to abstain from it, to me, would seem that just didn't hold by as an option for that regarding that debate. And especially the Rambam, one has an intuition that Rambam rejected so many, quote, mystical kind of concepts. You'd think that he would probably reject it as well. But it doesn't matter one way or another if I'm right or not. That's my intuition, but it's not crucial for my final decision. As we move on, you have the Ramami Pano, and you have the Kabbalists and others, and the Achronim for 100 years that clearly have embraced this idea, and they use it to explain many concepts. The Arizal went with it. Once the Arizal goes with it, that certainly sways many, many, many people and rabbis and laymen alike. So there you have it. You have an argument among our great sages. Seems to me it's a post-Talmudic argument, whether there's a concept of Gilgul. And that's just an overview of who says what to some degree or another. So the last 500 years heavily embraced. 500 years before that rarely embraced and even rejected when we go a little bit before that. And in the hundreds of years of literature, going backwards in history, from 500 to the closing of the Talmud, going back hundreds of years to the oral law, the Gemara and the Mishnah, not mentioned. Going back before that, 500 or so years before the Common Era, give or take, the closing with Ezra and the final closing of the 24 books of Tanakh, also not there. So that's our history of Gilgul. Started off not there in an explicit way for many, many